All right, let's jump right into this. I want you to think about the calendar for a second. We've got 365 days in a year, right? Yet, by some absolute cosmic coincidence, one very specific date, June 3rd, just keeps popping up as a major turning point in the history of human intelligence. It's wild. June 3rd is, without a doubt, a golden date that literally changed the world. So let's get right into it. Just look at this incredible span of time. On this exact same calendar date, stretching all the way from the era of powdered wigs in the 1700s, right through to the modern digital era of the 21st century, four totally brilliant minds made their mark on history. Across entirely different centuries and in completely different countries, they unlocked secrets that built the modern world we're living in right this second. So grab a seat because we're going to time travel and meet these visionaries one by one. So let's start with our first mystery, and it's one that's probably sitting right there in your pocket. How does your smartphone process millions or even billions of calculations every single second? Think about it. Every time you stream a high-def video, load up a heavy interactive map, or play a graphics-intensive game, your phone is crunching numbers at literal light speed. It feels like magic, doesn't it? But it's actually just raw, relentless mathematical power. Where did that power actually originate? Well, the foundation for all that incredible, pocket-sized power traces directly back to a pioneer named Presper Eckert, who passed away on June 3rd, 1995. Now, what's truly wild to wrap your head around is the sheer monumental scale of his work. We're talking about an era long before microchips, transistors, or even basic motherboards were a thought. He had to build computational power from absolute scratch, using just vacuum tubes and miles of wiring. He co-invented ENIAC, the very first general-purpose electronic digital computer. To really get a sense of this, you have to picture the contrast. Today, your phone weighs, a few ounces? ENIAC weighed 30 tons. It took up an entire massive room and required just enormous amounts of electricity to do a fraction of what your modern smartwatch does today. Yet this massive, humming, heat-generating machine laid the absolutely critical groundwork for every single tiny computer and device we rely on right now. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what he accomplished. He built the electronic brain that started it all. Without his towering invention, the digital age as we know it simply wouldn't exist. He literally gave humanity its very first digital thought. Okay, so we're staying right here on June 3rd, but let's fire up our time machine and rewind the clock 24 years to 1971. The world was obviously a very different place, yet this golden date was busy working its magic all over again. Let's keep going and uncover our next major mystery. Think about the digital environments you interact with every single day. Why does Google Maps always manage to find the fastest, most efficient route through a sprawling, chaotic city? And how do our video games map out such complex, fully immersive 3D spaces? We completely take it for granted, but there are invisible, geometric roads and complex networks connecting everything on your screen. How does a computer actually understand that vast spatial web? Well, this brings us to an absolute mathematical visionary named Heinz Hopf, who left us on June 3rd, 1971. Now, he wasn't building massive metal machines like Eckert. His workshop was entirely in his mind. Hopf was a master of shapes, complex spaces, and the deep, hidden rules of how absolutely everything in the universe fits together. He fundamentally revolutionized a field called topology, which is essentially the mathematics of how spaces are connected. Now, to break that down simply, topology doesn't care about exact, rigid distances the way traditional geometry does. Instead, it cares entirely about relationships, pathways, and connections. It's like a giant puzzle. By mapping out these incredibly complex mathematical rules, Hopf gave computers a language to actually understand space. That is precisely why our modern 3D graphics, intricate digital networks, and GPS routing algorithms can function as smoothly as they do today. So every single time you use a GPS to avoid a massive traffic jam or explore a huge open-world video game, you're relying heavily on Hopf's life work. Because his entire legacy was dedicated to understanding the invisible shapes that connect our world. He basically mapped the unmappable. All right, we've just talked about the solid, rigid rules of shapes and spaces. But now we're jumping forward to June 3rd, 2010, a totally different era, a different country, and an exponentially bigger idea. We are moving away from structured networks and diving headfirst into the realm of absolute, unpredictable chaos. Have you ever looked at your phone to check the forecast and wondered how weather apps actually predict the future? Seriously, think about it. The Earth's atmosphere is a churning, violently chaotic system. Wind, pressure, temperature, and moisture are constantly shifting in millions of microscopic and macroscopic ways every single millisecond. The weather itself is so incredibly unpredictable. So, how on earth do we find order in a storm? How do we predict the unpredictable?
To understand that, we have to look to June 2010, and a truly brilliant mathematician named Vladimir Arnold. He's the key to this whole puzzle.
Okay, let's dive into this, because what he figured out fundamentally transformed our understanding of the universe itself. Arnold mastered what we call dynamical systems. In plain English, this is essentially the math of things that are constantly moving, evolving, and changing over time, like turbulent ocean currents, the erratic orbits of asteroids, or a massive storm front rolling across a continent. By uncovering the deep mathematical rules hiding inside these wildly chaotic systems, his work gave our modern supercomputers the underlying equations they desperately need to model and actually predict chaos. And this brings us to an incredible realization about his genius. He didn't shy away from the messiness of nature. No, he dedicated his life to finding the hidden mathematical order inside total chaos. That is just a profound achievement. One single calendar date, so many world-changing stories. Now, we're going to take our biggest leap yet. We are jumping hundreds of years into the past to June 3rd, 1726, to meet our final and oldest mathematical mind. We are going way back to a time long before computers, satellites, or modern advanced math even existed. Which brings us to our final mystery. How do we actually know the true ancient age of the Earth beneath our feet? Keep in mind, back in the 1700s, scientists had absolutely no advanced scanning tools, no carbon dating, no lasers, and definitely no satellites. So using nothing but their own observation, how did they figure out the millions of years of secrets hidden deep underground? The foundation for that profound knowledge started on June 3rd, 1726, with a brilliant thinker named James Hutton. But notice a really big difference here on our timeline. While our previous visionaries left this world on June 3rd, James Hutton was actually born on this exact golden date. Hutton proved that the Earth's surface is shaped by extremely slow, continuous cycles of erosion and uplift, officially founding the field of modern geology. Before Hutton, people kind of just assumed the Earth was relatively young and unchanging, but he looked closely at layered rocks and jagged cliffs and realized a staggering truth. These geological formations must have taken millions upon millions of years to form. He completely shattered humanity's previous limited understanding of time itself. It was a real game changer, fundamentally altering how we view our planet's deep history and delicate environment today. So the next time you're standing at the edge of a massive canyon, or just looking up at a towering mountain peak, remember what Hutton gave us. He gave us the definitive method for reading the deep history of our world written in stone. All right, let's take one final look at this incredible timeline. From the very birth of geology in the 1700s with Hutton, to mapping the connections of 3D spaces with Hopf, building the first massive digital brains with Eckert, and charting the chaos of global weather with Arnold. Every single person we met today, across completely different centuries and completely different countries, was ultimately searching for the exact same thing. They were all trying to answer one profound question. What is the pattern hiding inside the chaos? And you know what? Because they dared to ask that question and dedicate their entire lives to the answer, our world today has powerful smartphones, breathtaking 3D graphics, life-saving weather prediction, and a true deep understanding of the planet we call home. Keep wondering. Keep asking questions, and always keep looking for the beautiful patterns in your world. See you next time.